everybody? I'm Renzo Mox, and welcome back to the new Renzo Show. The name's not gimmicky at all. Welcome back to another episode, and I'm here today with my good pal, the one, the only, the creator of such hits as Bitten to Death by a Rakshi, Bionic Kasai. What's up, my friend?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm glad to be on.
Finally.
It's been a long time coming, huh?
I know. Kasai was like, bro, you should have me on the original Renzo Show. And I was just like, yeah, you'll be on the next episode, dude. And then I never made an episode again. And then I deleted the series, and I was like, no, thank you, I'm good. And now it's back, but it's different and better. So here it is.
Well, potentially. We'll see.
Potentially. Maybe not.
But yeah. I'm glad to be on. I'm glad the show is back.
That's good.
I was really sad when the original Renzo Show went down.
It was not very good, so
I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you did, but it was just me looking awkwardly into a camera for 30 minutes.
With or without your brother.
Yeah, exactly. And he wouldn't know what to do with himself, so he would just kind of like touch things, and I'd be like, hey, stop it. There's some charming moments. I can see that, but it is mostly just whatever. But anyhow, Bionic Kasai is a good pal of mine. He's one of the first biotubers people that I've been talking to. I met him after you were before Thatch. Yeah, you were.
Yeah,
I met you before Thatch. Right, because you guys were working on a big collab at the time, and that was really cool. It's so weird to look back and think about old biotube history. It's so strange to me.
And it was only 3 years ago.
I know, but that sounds like, just thinking about that sounds so long ago, in my opinion. That sounds crazy. But yeah, you were, so I met you, and we met on a live stream, and we've told this story plenty of time. It was the Journey to Fun live stream that Okoto was doing, and I thought you were some weirdo. I really like that. That's where we met, because I was like, "Oh, Bionic Sonic, who's this guy? What's his deal?" And yeah, that's history. So now we're here, and Bionic Kasai nowadays is most well known for 1,600 Kingdom Hearts live streams. So you have that to watch.
More to come at some point.
More to come eventually. What are you planning on doing next? Since you already
I still gotta beat Kingdom Hearts 1.
Right. You'll get it. If I could beat the game, you could beat the game.
Yeah. But after that is Chain of Memories.
I wish you luck on that one. It was not my favorite. Oh boy.
Means to an end to get to number 2.
Right. 2 is really good so far, I will say. For anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about Kingdom Hearts video game series. Don't blame you if you haven't heard of it. It's pretty weird, but it's something that Kasai and I both enjoy. Probably he likes it way more than I do. But that's besides the point. Anyhow, so Kasai's our guest today, obviously. So I'm changing the structure of the show a little bit. It's leaning more towards, like, once you have a guest on per episode, I'm going to be asking them questions. We're going to be talking about, it's going to be more focused on them, basically. Just as like an interview, kind of like what LJ does, where it's much more of an interview, basically. So I guess just plain and simple, I guess I'll just start off with, how did you get into Bionicle? Why did you start making videos and all that stuff?
So I've had Bionicle around pretty much as long as I can remember. My older brother had Bionicles when they came out.
Right, I forgot you had an older brother.
Yeah, I have 2 older brothers.
Right.
But he had Bionicles, when I was like 2 years old, and I loved them. I thought they were really cool. And throughout the years of G1, I was in and out of Bionicle here and there. Like, I was big in on the Metru. I remember I did get Lecon and the Rhino or whatever at some point.
Kikanado.
Yeah. And then I was into 2005 a little bit. And then even less so the Inika, and then it kind of fell out for a while, and then around the time of 2009, got back into it. Fell out again after 2010, and then got into Hero Factory for a year, 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of video making, I did plush videos back in the day.
You were building up to that. You were like, oh boy, here we go. Which is something that Kasai and I can both relate to. Haven't really talked about it on the channel, but I have. My origins stem from plush videos, so we have something in common there. They are on private now, right?
Yeah, I have another channel that has some on there that I can't access, but whatever. So yeah, I did plush videos way back in the day. I did some like minifigure stop motions a lot, a bit too. Nothing real good.
That's understandable. It's okay.
Yeah, but that was mostly because like I liked watching Super Mario Logan back when he did stuff that was actually decent.
There you go.
That wasn't just a bunch of meme characters.
All the Super Mario Logan fans are scathing in rage right now.
Gritting their teeth and pounding their walls. And there was this one other channel, I think it was like Mario 89 or something like that.
Yeah. I use stuff too. Yep.
They had like Kermit and all sorts of stuff.
And, Jack Frost. That was the big character.
I like them a lot. And so I wanted to do stuff like that. And basically it's like when you're a kid, you play games with toys and stuff.
Yep.
But then my thought of it was always like, well, we could play the games or we could make videos of it, which is basically us recording playing the games. So then we can always go back and watch that. So that's kind of what the idea was. It was just getting the stories down and being able to remember it better.
Right.
Able to re-experience it, stuff like that. And so that's what got me into videos, and then I was doing that for a long time, and then I started to get back into Bionicle again when it came back for 2015. I have a funny little side note. When Jang did his, or no, I think there was a leak of Corgo that came out, and I saw that, and I had been out of Bionicle for so long. This is exactly the thought process I went through. I saw Corgo, and I saw Protector of Earth, and I was like, whoa, Earth is in Bionicle now? What the hell? This is crazy. Like Earth the planet.
Right.
And then later I realized, oh wait, Earth is an element in Bionicle.
The planet Earth. That's awesome.
Yep.
It's a very strange thing.
Yeah. And throughout all the plush years, I had a bucket of some Bionicle figures that I'd had over time. But yeah, so and then my first official Bionicle set from G2 was Toho Nua Master. And Miri sent that to me as a birthday gift.
There you go.
And that was game changing for me. I have a video on my channel. It's like a tribute video just to that set.
That's cool.
So yeah, after that, I just started losing interest in the plush videos as I started to get more Bionicles, and I started really get back into it. I started incorporating them into videos, and then I just started full on making videos about them.
Yeah.
And then G2 was canceled. And I was in the process of writing Mask of Imitation. So G2 was canceled, and I mean, I had met you guys.
Right.
So then I was like, well, that kind of sucked. I was originally planning on doing a series about Kasai's origin, which was completely different at the time. But then I saw that G2 ended, and I was like, well, that kind of sucks. I want to continue that and kind of give it a better send-off, because Mask of Imitation tied into G2.
Yep.
So I made it go right up to the end of G2 canonically. and then Chronicles of Darkness picks up immediately after. So
there you go.
Long-winded, but that's how.
That is, yeah, no, that's fair. That's a nice, meaty description of your life starting off making videos. I still think it's really cool that that's how we both started off. Like, it's very strange.
We have a lot in common. That's for sure.
We actually do. We have a lot of similar things that we grew up on, and a lot of we don't talk about it that much. But again, I actually will say
we probably have the most in common out of any of the Hapori.
I'd say
the primary.
Right. I'd say it's you, me, and then I have a ton in common with that Shinokoto too. Those are the three. You guys are the three people that they're like my favorite people. So, I'm not saying anything negative about any of the Hapori, but these guys are my three best friends. So,
yeah.
Yep. Anyhow, it is super interesting to go back and think, because we all start from somewhere, obviously. Mm-hmm. So, it is cool to that you start off with something like plush videos, which is such a niche like thing to start off with. It was big back in the day too. I remember like everyone was getting on board with it.
Yeah, because that was back when Super Mario Logan was really just starting to blow up.
Right, now he's insanely popular.
Yeah,
I don't even know why. I assume it's because kids
and memes.
Right, I can see that. My brother, I know he's a fan of them. Same with another channel, SMG4, which is another Mario channel. I think it's not plush videos, but I think it's really interesting how things like this are still popular nowadays.
Yeah,
it's an interesting discussion. But
I mean,
yeah, go
on. Gary's mod videos with stuff like that is like the modern version of plush videos, pretty much.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly reasonable. I agree. Definitely. Now that you actually mentioned it, I'm just realizing how close they actually are. And that's what SMG4 is, actually. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, he does like the Gary's mod, ragdoll, throws them around, all sorts of craziness. Yeah.
You're right. I remember they were also, there was always a phase of time where they got really big, and now they're not as big nowadays, but they're still big, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's always
Sonic Zombies. There was that.
Right, absolutely. It's just crazy. The internet works in these weird waves that it's very strange.
Yeah. It's not a phase, Mom.
It's not a phase. Totally. But I guess from that point on, you wrote Mask of Imitation. Where did that come from? Because I know you've talked about it before, that it was originally going to be something completely different. Talk about that.
Mask of Imitation?
Yep.
So originally I had like a G1 story I was writing that pretty much broke every rule of G1.
There you go.
Killed off most of the Toa. Disregarded most of the canon.
Can't blame that.
Included just all of the Toa brutally murdered the Paraka besides Thok.
Jesus.
So it wasn't good, and then the story itself was really bizarre. A little brief overview of what that was.
Yes, please.
So Kasai washes up on the island of Motunui. Eventually, he meets Jala, whatever, as a Matoran, and they become friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point, Miri comes along. She's working for Makuta, and then she would end up killing Kasai.
Okay.
And then, yeah. And then Jala would put on Kasai's mask and become Kasai.
Oh no.
So then the story would continue on, and then it would reach like the end of the story was planned to be like this big crazy battle between Motunui and Makuta.
Mm-hmm.
And like it ended up like resetting time somehow. So then Jala Kasai is the one who wakes up on Motunui, and then everything reoccurs and happens over again.
Okay.
So like Kasai was Jala the entire time, and then I think like the very very end was like to break the loop or whatever. Jala Kasai had to kill himself.
Okay.
And then it was just so crazy. It made no sense whatsoever.
Doesn't sound like it makes any sense. Sounds beautiful.
So, yeah, it's just completely nonsensical.
I love old stories.
So, after G2 came along, it was open enough to the point where, like, everything I wanted to do with, like, the characters and, like, the character dynamics and stuff like that,
right,
was perfectly fine. Because there's romance, there's, you know, kids and parents, there's, you know, there's not a whole bunch of freaking lore.
Right.
And then none of the characters really had much to them, so I could do whatever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was like, you know what? Get rid of that old G1 Garbo.
Right.
That's terrible. So then I moved on to G2, and I was like, yeah, you know, this is more open. This is much more creative freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the characters I had in the G1 story and converted them to the G2 story, and started writing them into Legacy, or not Legacy Light, Mask Mutation.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to stick to the canon because it was so open as best as possible. So it takes place between 2015, like right at the end of 2015, all the way up to the end of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And like Kasai comes in, and yeah, he washes up on the shore. He has no memory, but he's not freaking Jala. Jala doesn't exist.
Right.
So yeah, and there were a lot of different plans. Like at some point, he was going to have been like the champion for like the goddess of fire or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just going to be a lot of it was like starting to make more sense, but there was still some older stuff that didn't make sense.
Right.
So then that all just started to phase out eventually.
That's fair.
So yeah.
That is fair. Okay, let's see here. Right, because yeah, I've had the exact same experience too. I'm sorry, I was just thinking there for a second. Where you have to transition a lot of these older things, or if you want to, right? Because you kind of like the idea, so you want to bring it over. I have plenty of characters that I've wanted to include in Renzo that I've gotten rid of because they just don't work, like with the story. And even though I like their kind of character design, it's just they would not work with the climate. So either you change them drastically or you just get rid of them. You change them so much they're not even the same character anymore because they just wouldn't work. Your series is a little bit more because it's a fantasy series basically, so you can have a lot more of those things in there, but it makes sense that you've changed a lot of it. And I've seen all of your old mocks, and it was interesting hearing you talk about how you had to bring a lot of older characters over and transition them, because you can really see that with your mocks. A lot of older characters that have completely changed in the newer series. Like old scraps and stuff like that. It's very bizarre. Yeah. It's interesting. It's really cool though, just to see how far things have gone and how much it's changed, you know. And so you wrote Mask of Mutation, which was a very enjoyable book. I liked it a lot. I think more people should read it. It's a short, sweet adventure.
Didn't you?
What?
Did you do a review on it? I don't remember.
No, that was Okoto.
That's right.
Okoto did the review. I did not. But it was a short little adventure, and I liked it. It actually cleared a ton of things up. That's what I will say. If people who have watched COD and were confused about the start of it, because it just kind of it starts. There's no real introduction to a lot of the main characters. They're just kind of there. I totally recommend people should read the book. It actually helps to clear a lot of things up. Surprisingly, like so much. It's not necessary, but it does help. There's a lot of things that are referenced to in the series. This series will reference the book a lot, which I've noticed. And the book was nice. So what I want to know is that you wrote the book, right? And you were writing it since what, 2014? No, it wouldn't have been 2014.
2015.
Right, 2015. And you wrote it for, when was it finished? 2016?
It was finished with air quotes in late 2016-ish. But it wasn't really completely edited and finalized and everything until early 2018.
Yeah, it was recent. I that's right. I remember. That's, I guess, not recent. That's a year, but I mean, it is weird to think that you only just recently finished it.
Released it and all that, yeah.
Right. And you, I'm just thinking, it's interesting. So after Legacy of Light, you got started on Chronicles of Darkness, obviously. And
you said Legacy of Light.
Sorry, not Legacy of Light. Chronicles of Darkness. Mask of Imitation. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
So after you finished Mask of Imitation, you started on Chronicles of Darkness. And you want to talk about the Chronicles of Darkness experience? Just how you got started and just what your plan was and where you were going.
Okay, so... So, first I feel like I should hit on a little bit of the note of what the original series plan was going to be.
Yeah, go on.
Because before G2 ended, I was planning on doing an origin story series, or like what happened before Mask of Imitation for Kasai. It was going to be so far different from the Tide Forgotten.
Right.
Kasai was going to be part of like this team who did like missions for the gods or whatever, and then
weird.
He would have ended, I don't know how, but he would have ended up getting amnesia and washing up, and then eventually in some point in the like future storylines, because I was planning on making like later books or whatever, he would like re-meet that team and they would be like enemies or whatever. It was freaking crazy.
Yeah. I've never heard about any of this, by the way, guys. This is all new information.
Yeah, haven't talked about any of that before.
It's weird. Why haven't you talked about it before?
Because it doesn't matter.
Fair enough. Okay. Blow right past that.
So starting Chronicles of Darkness, I knew I wanted to pick up where G2 left off. And pick up where Mask of Imitation leaves off. And continue G2 and just build upon it. Take what was established and then, continue that and build upon that and add more. And that's always been the plan.
Right.
And so with the start of it, it picks up right after they finished the fight with the elemental beasts or whatever, Umrek's horde in the Matchmaker City. The creatures aren't there for some reason. Primarily because I didn't have those sets at the time. At least not all of them.
They weren't dead either because they appeared later on.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
But so, it picks up and throughout the first episode, we see, because at the end of the book, Scraps is all destroyed, so he gets taken to Corgo to get rebuilt.
Yep.
So then we see him get his new body and all sorts of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Akimu comes home and he says the Toa are dead.
Yep.
And all that jazz. So, and there wasn't really particularly a plan.
Yep.
I'm sure you're well aware that like this plan I was making up as I went along.
Yep.
But so I knew I had Drovix, I had Zodalix, I had several other characters that I had built. Kroza was one. He was someone, that's for sure.
He was somebody.
That's pretty much all you could say about him.
Mm-hmm. Did a cool design.
Yeah.
You got his head stomped on.
A design that you ignored.
I did not ignore. Listen, we could talk about the story all day. You know what happened? We were on the Journey to Fun live stream because I was like, "Yo, check out my mock." And I've told this story a million times, so I'm sorry if you've heard this already. But I'm like, all right, I'll just check out this mock. But I was like ignoring it for a while. Like I didn't want to check out the mock. So I went to his channel and I checked it out. And I believe that must have been your newest mock review, right?
I think so. It was a slideshow. But yeah,
Right,
you just looked at the thumbnail and you were like, yeah, that's cool.
I looked at the thumbnail. I watched the first like 15 seconds, not even 15 seconds, like 10 seconds of the video. I'm like, yeah, he's cool. I don't really like the arms or anything. Because there was this form before Kroza, like pre-Kroza.
It was like pre-Drovix
Yeah.
Kroza or whatever.
And he was like weird. I don't exactly remember what he looked like.
He was like a normal old
Right.
guy or whatever. He was lanky.
Right. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't really like him that much. And then he's like, did you watch past the first 10 seconds or whatever? And
Yeah.
I'm like, no. And then I saw the whole mock and I'm like, wow, that's way cooler.
Yep.
So the actual Kroza mock I like a lot more than little weirdo human
Little
Kroza.
nerd Kroza.
Yep. But I do like baby Kroza in Tide Forgotten.
Yeah, he's cute. So
Continue. Yeah.
yeah, I had these characters, and I really liked Colta. I still had Colta built, so I was like, I want to tie in the villains of G2 a bit more, but I didn't want to use Makuta. At least I wasn't sure I wanted to use Makuta. So I had Drovix, and then he busts Colta out of prison or whatever.
Yep.
And there's the big old canon thing about like, oh, he was locked in the caves or whatever. But
Yep.
I didn't know that. I hadn't read that book. But I mean, we've figured out an explanation for that. But anyway, so the things just kind of go along. Blaze is introduced as the Shadow the Hedgehog character, and
Right.
stuff like that. But every episode was just made up as I went along.
Mhm.
There wasn't really an end goal.
Right.
It was just like, see how it goes, see where it goes, all that jazz. Which isn't a good idea for making a series.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
Especially if you don't have a script.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yep.
and you have other voice actors.
Yep.
Because it would get to the point where I was filming on the spot at that time, and I would be like, "Hey, I need some lines from you guys."
Yep.
I would need them like right then and there.
Yeah. Not very convenient.
Nope. But yeah, so that continued on and went for the season.
Mm-hmm.
And then Scraps falls down the cliff. Well, Makuta gets woken up at some point.
Right.
And that was because I always had this kind of idea, which I'm sure plenty of people had or whatever. This idea that like Makuta, I think the idea was, since Makuta was halfway through the portal when they closed it on him, like half of him got separated in the normal world or whatever.
Right.
Or something like that.
Right.
That didn't end up happening in the story, but that's what I was going with at first, and it was going to be like the good half of him. But eventually it just ended up being Makuta.
Yeah.
And so Akimi wakes him up. They fight Colta at some point. All that jazz. And then the Toa, there's like a little quest for the Toa or whatever. And that's just because people kept asking, "Oh, are you going to bring the Toa back? Are the Toa going to show up? When are we going to see the Toa?" I didn't want to do the Toa, but I felt like I had to do the Toa. So I brought them back, which I regret.
Yeah, I did not know that. I figured you were just like, the Toa are cool, so you brought them back.
Nope, never wanted to bring them back in the first place.
I see.
But so season 1 ends, I didn't really have a plan for the show up until I started writing scripts.
Mm-hmm.
That's season 2.
Right.
And Drovix's plan wasn't finalized until the last, 6 episodes.
That's right.
It
worked. It was once you figured out what his plan was, it all became pretty clear and it made sense in the story. It's a little convoluted in season 1, but
yeah, and I know the explanation for that.
right.
It's just a matter of like getting that information out there. But
Right.
yeah. But yeah, so I was just kind of going along the entire ride. This was a really long explanation. I don't even remember what your original question was.
I just think it was like, yo, how was the early experience of working on COD?
The early experience. So yeah, I had no voice actors for the first few episodes. It was just me and Miri.
And wasn't it your brother too?
Yeah, Conan.
Right.
So it's just the three of us doing voices.
Yep.
Then I met you guys, and I got Akoto to voice Kroza.
Yep.
I don't think I got you to voice anyone.
Nope. Not till season 2.
That's crazy.
I was brought on as Liwa. I think the only voice acting I did for season 2 was Liwa and Water God.
Liwa, Water God, and then there was Protector Renzo.
Right. That was just done as a joke.
Yeah, that was just a little reference. But
yep.
yeah. What?
I'm not bitter.
In all fairness, I'd say Liwa and Water God are bigger roles than Izator and Kroza.
That is true.
Those are the only roles that
Liwa is pretty. He had a pretty small role. He wasn't too in the series too much.
Yeah, even
I don't really care.
Finale of the series,
Water God was not a big role. Water God showed up, talked to
bigger than Kroza. Got
his head chopped off and died instantly.
I'm noticing a decapitation theme, actually.
You have a lot of decapitations in COD. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, play the funky jazz music, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We hope you guys enjoyed the little musical break. As per always, we always try to make our best to entertain you for like 8 seconds. Welcome back to the show. I'm here again.
As per always.
Yep, I'm here with my. I can't come up with a word.
We can stop and then start again if you want to.
No, this is good. Let's leave this all in. Listen, the Renzo Mox channel is all about improfessionalism. Unprofessionalism. What you thought I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say improv.
It is, too, I guess. I do improv a lot. Anyways.
I don't know what he's going to do next.
Anyway, back with Kasai, my humble guest.
Hello.
Hello. And basically, we were talking about COD and, where he started, obviously, going into his past. But now let's talk a little bit about mocking, since I am a mocking channel.
No way.
No, I didn't know that. Are you sure? Pretty
Weird.
sure you reviewed movies.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you played video games.
Those are other channels.
Didn't you make plush videos? You have 3 individual channels where you have plush videos.
Jesus.
I do have like 10 channels, but that's for another time.
You have to like interview yourself at some point.
It will be like that LJ interview where he just, for April Fools, he just interviewed himself and different characters of himself. It was really funny. It's a good prank too. He'd have to like. The way he did it was that he like pre-recorded all the lines, and that must have been really hard to sync up. Oh well, I'm never gonna do that. So.
All right.
Anyhow, so you're a mocker. You mock a lot. Mockist, not mocker.
A lot recently, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, totally. I've noticed you've been mocking a lot, and you have been like getting more colorful looking characters, which is very nice. Because any way to win me over is just throw a bunch of bright colors at a character, and I'm like, yes, good. But I think everyone knows what your favorite mock is. But if not, just say it, I guess.
Well, I don't know, because Brarius doesn't really get a lot of attention. But It's Briareus the Centaur. I just said his name.
I assume he probably doesn't get enough attention because he's not like in any videos.
Yeah. I mean, I did make the mock slideshow and stuff. I posted them on the TTV message boards, and like he got like maybe 5 comments or something. But
oh, there you go.
I'm super proud of him. I love him. I think he's my best mock as of yet. Still, and I made it around this time last year, which is crazy.
I know. That is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been so long.
Mm-hmm. But right, because you unveiled him on
the podcast. Yeah, I think it was
right.
It was one of the last podcasts we did.
Wasn't it the Thanos podcast? At least part 1.
I don't know. I think it was either the one before or the one after the Kahi podcast.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But so, anyways, that's your favorite mock.
Yeah.
Your mocks have changed a lot throughout the years, as most people do. Obviously, they grow and they change. It's very weird to go back and see your very first mocks compared to now, which I've done many times. I've browsed on your channel and have been like, whoa, look at these things. So this is a very particular question, and that is, what is your favorite old mock? Like some of the older ones on your channel.
Favorite old mock?
Yeah. This is a question that probably never gets asked of you.
That's an interesting one. Oh man, I
you'd have to look.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. Totally.
There's a lot of them. I don't blame you.
Yeah, there's so many. Let me see. Where's my mock slideshow?
I can't look right now.
92 videos.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many that are just so bad or basic.
I'm gonna check right now too. I'm gonna observe.
Oh man. Yeah. I just saw a good old Toa Kimu. My most viewed video still.
That video I remember was I do remember that video was the one that like I saw recommended to me a couple times.
First Toa Kimu mock on YouTube.
That's okay, that makes sense why. Let's see here. We have the what is it? The spot or
it's got Takanuva on the front.
Right, here it is.
Okay. So
playing copyrighted music.
I'm only gonna count up until like the Toa Corredo video.
Okay.
Before that, my favorite would
Jesus. Just whistle as loud as you can into the mic.
Wow. Oh man, there's not a lot of good pickings.
Gotta pick one.
I do, unfortunately. I'm gonna say my favorite was Toa Kasai. I think that design still does the later version, not the original version. But I think the design still does hold up somewhat decently well nowadays.
I want to like say no, but there is really not that much to choose from, so I'll give you that one.
I'm talking about the one with the Metru torso.
No, I know. I want to say no because it's Kasai, but
yeah, I'm just saying as a mock, that design still does hold up somewhat.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Not compared to modern Kasai at all, but as a mock,
right.
It's probably the best one out of those.
And so, looking at your old mocks, is there a character that you would like to bring back for COD or not COD, Legacy of Light, that you're not going to? That you're not going to. Like you look at your old mocks and you look at these characters and you're like, oh, that'd be cool to bring that back.
Yeah. So Alcadex is one of the characters I've had for the longest time, and I brought him back. There's Galvator, who I like a lot, but he is more or less Lazarus now, kind of reincarnated as that.
That's right.
Frostmourne is pretty much Glaceon.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. Yuri is obviously still around.
Yep.
Kind of dig Yoku.
Yoku,
He's
right.
the green guy. With
Right.
He has like 2 sides.
Yep.
He was cool. Aiden, I know my brother likes him a lot and wishes I rebuilt. He really wants me to make like a modern version of him.
Okay, I see.
So maybe him. There's another character that I plan on bringing back from those old days. Is has a very revamped. But someone that I would like to, but wouldn't. The Fallen King.
I believe. Oh yeah, here it is. I just found it.
Under Akimi V2 and
Yep.
above all, yeah. That was an interesting concept. But I don't really have any place for him.
Right.
So I think he's probably the only character I would want to, but I would want to bring back, but probably wouldn't. Just because he really doesn't fit anywhere.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, all right, fair enough. I know this might be confusing for some people. I apologize.
Yeah. Basically, Renzo put a timestamp on when they should like look through my, or just like put up pictures or the thumbnails or whatever of the pictures.
Definitely gonna do that.
Something like that. I don't know.
We'll see. Yeah. I just go check out Bionic the Kasai's mock slideshows, even if they're not. It's interesting to see how much a person has changed.
It's interesting to go through and just watch the development happen. And then the last slideshow is Briarius, so you'll end up at my favorite one.
You did Destroyer revamp, which was very cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
He does. I like what you did with his legs. That's much better. I actually don't like the golden jaw. It makes sense, but I don't like it.
I can see that, yeah.
It's interesting because Umarak the Destroyer revamps I've noticed were either really no or just because he's a little lanky in some areas.
Oh yeah, he was not perfect at all.
Yeah,
but I mean,
right.
It's very hard to. He's such a strange character design. Yeah, it's very hard to like make him perfect. You know.
Holy crap! He's not even taller than Drovix, is he? No.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. I did not know Drovix was that tall.
He's one of my taller mocks.
That's very strange to me.
I mean, yeah, he's as tall as Briarius.
That must mean Ultimate Drovix is freaking gigantic.
Mm-hmm. Not now. He was not much taller, just a little bit.
Right. I guess he only had 4 arms. I guess his height wasn't really incredibly increased.
He's only really overshadowed by like 4
right.
Maybe.
You don't do these types of videos that much anymore.
Slideshows, no.
Which is a shame. I think they're good. They are kind of they feel very old, you know.
They're definitely old school.
They feel outdated a little bit. I don't think there's a problem with it. It's a simple way of doing a video. If you don't want to talk about the mock, that's perfectly fine.
I mean, you did one for
your
Mask Maker contest entry.
That was because I was lazy, but and I was also kind of just like, all right, this is I think it was mostly because I was just lazy. But yeah.
But yeah, and then like slideshows, you know, you normally have some sort of edgy music or something like that that fits the character. And I try not to get copywritten anymore. So
yep,
it's another hindrance on those type of videos.
Fair enough. I mean, you just gotta find some appropriate fitting music for the character.
Mm-hmm.
I often, when looking for music for characters, I try to I'll pick music that generally isn't 100%. You know, it's not their theme. It's not even a song usually. It's just music that can kind of fit into the theme of that character. So I look at video game soundtracks a lot for that.
When I go for something like that, I try to pick the songs that make me think of that character the most.
Right.
But there's a lot of the elements of like his character and like his story and stuff like that that kind of tie into it. And like the bigger picture makes more sense.
Yep. Totally. I just gotta listen and you gotta decipher, all that stuff.
Hack the system.
Yeah, you gotta break into the system and analyze it.
Yeah, so.
Right. Let's dive into your content, Kasai.
Feel like
What
I'm,
is what?
I feel like I'm on like trial or something. You're like, let's dive into
we're exposing you. I'm exposing you right now.
You're gonna expose my racist tweets from 2010.
I'll get you outed of BioTube for writing nasty things. What would you? So you have a ton of videos. You must have what, over 600 or something like that. You have a crazy amount.
You want me to check?
If you want to. I mean, you don't have to.
I'll check. It won't take long.
Okay. Because I know I'm an editor for your videos, so I'm always on there. But I just know you have a ton of videos. I'm always
weird. Why did they change it? Oh gosh, that's weird. YouTube changed up their setup.
They did. That's the new studio. You just have to go to the classic.
I don't know how though.
Oh
god. Ooh. Well, I don't know how to see how many videos I have now.
Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it.
But it's like over 500, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a lot of videos. So, out of all those videos, do you have something? Do you have a series? Do you have something that people wouldn't remember, or a specific type of video? Do you have something that people probably haven't seen or just forgot about that you would want to recommend again? This is a very specific question.
That is a very specific question. And I think if I had to say one or a few, like a handful, like an obscure series or something, I would say Bionicle canceled ? Exclamation point.
Right.
Because that was really my first proper intro into doing Bionicle specific videos, and it was really like the Tales of Home precursor. And that was immediately after Bionicle was canceled, hence the name. Mm-hmm. So it's just like this silly little adventure of Kasai trying to detectivize, be like a little detective of like who canceled Bionicle.
Right.
So yeah, that's a fun little thing I have fond memories of.
You bring this up a lot, actually. Not a lot, but you bring it up a couple times, and I actually haven't seen it. So
you haven't really? You should watch that.
I always say I'm going to, and then I just don't. So I'll look. It's not long, so
you won't.
You know what? Gonna put it on my watch later. And I'll watch it eventually. I mean, there's no. I'll just be like, oh, I'll watch it, because there's no point in not watching it. How many episodes were there?
Just three parts.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to recommend?
So besides Bionicle canceled, I would say maybe Tales of Home Season 1.
Okay.
It's super incomplete. There's a lot of nonsense. It's a lot of memes. But the first video, I believe it is the first video that properly had Camilio in it.
Mm.
No, I don't. Yeah. Okay, never mind. So I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So we did the Tales of Home Season 1 finale. We did before the Christmas special. Because when I did the Christmas special, I also wanted to do a new Tales of Home like reboot because it wasn't in continuity with House Legacy or Biorama.
Right.
So basically, the universe gets blown up and Camelio like saves it, and the Cataclysm's there. And it's funny, it's interesting, and you meet the person who is the reason that Steve has his name.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a good thing to watch.
It is a very interesting thing. It's a very specific reference that not a lot of people honestly get. It's a very now that I think about it, it's very obscure. Like it's very like not very many people actually know where that came from, which is interesting because I watched that happen. You know, like I watched him be named Steve, which is really interesting. And speaking of which, so obviously I met you, Okoto and I met you, and then you met Thatch, and you started working on something. And do you want to talk about how all that went down and stuff? Because I know everyone hear about how it's all connected to Fodham, you know?
Yeah. So basically, you, me, and Okoto started talking, becoming friends. So I don't think we actually officially had a conversation until like a call until like October.
Right. It was way later.
It was like 2 months later, but we started talking more. And then I decided to make the Bionic Alert video because Keemstar was like a big meme or whatever at that point. And so I made that video and I used that beautiful clip of you.
Right.
And then Thatch Mac, who I had seen on TTV message boards because he was, like working to build the Makutas or whatever.
Yep.
And I'd seen his video where he called Lego about asking if they were going to cancel Bionicle or something like that.
Right. Oh, I don't even. Oh man, that's not on his channel anymore.
No, he deleted it.
Rest in peace.
Sadly. But so he commented on that video, and he was like, "Bro, you were doing collabs. You should have let me know, dude." I'm like, why didn't you let me know? Something like that. It was like he says all the time. It was a dumb comment.
Right.
And I was like, "Bro, I didn't even know you would want to," because I'd seen a few of his things, and I was like, cool. You need someone who knows I exist. Because I was still very small back then.
Right.
So then we started talking on Skype, and we figured out we wanted to do something. And the first thing we did was, the first thing I did was the Scarce parody with my brother about that. And originally it had his face in the thumbnail, but then he decided he didn't want to show his face, so he took down the videos that had his face in it, and he was like, "Hey, could you change that?" So I changed it to Camelio.
Right.
And so then we started working on the Christmas special, and at the same time I was working on Tales of Home, and then you guys said that like, because whatever, it couldn't be canon because House Legacy appeared in it.
Right.
And so then I was like, "Hey, bro, before we release the Christmas special, could I do this thing with Camelio and cancel Tales of Home?" Because we had discussed how the universe stuff happens with the Cataclysm. He was like, "Yeah, sure, but not before I released the last episode of the Versus series."
Right.
Because that's when the Cataclysm was first introduced.
Yep. Well, the Cataclysm was first introduced in Short But Sweet.
Yeah, so it was one of those. Then I did that, and then we ended up doing the crossover, the Christmas special.
Right.
And for that, he didn't have a story for his self-mock.
Right.
And so he was thinking like, how could I cross over, and have it not feel super forced or anything. And so that's where the whole Dimension Hopper deal came from, at least as far as I'm aware.
Mm-hmm.
So it all kind of spawned from there. The whole Horporiverse, the whole Fodham. Obviously, you guys had Biorama and House Legacy connected from the get-go, but that's where it all just kind of started to culminate from, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's crazy. You know, it's very weird to think that Camellia was introduced in a crossover. It's very strange, and that's not true. He appeared in another video. I believe he first appeared in the Short But Sweet. No, he first appeared in. Again,
he first appeared in either the Tales of Home finale or the last part of the Versus series.
It might have been. I remember there is a specific shot of him like talking with a white dude voice.
Yeah, I think that's in the Makuta video.
Right.
Makuta versus Doctor.
It was either, yeah, I think it was that one. And it's just crazy to think that his like major introduction was a crossover with Kasai. And I remember at the time, because I don't exactly remember if I had seen COD yet. I know you recommended the series, and I was like, all right, I'll start watching it eventually. But I remember I didn't watch it instantly. I waited a bit. Or I watched like the first episode.
In all honesty, I have not watched Biorama yet.
You said you saw a couple episodes.
I've seen a couple episodes. I haven't watched the whole thing yet. Not at least season 1. I've watched all of season 2, the movie, and season 3.
It makes me sad. That's fair. Season 1's long. Season 1 is like 5 hours. So
if I were you, I would not want to watch COD season 1 either.
Hey, listen, I've seen it many more times since
I don't know why. I don't know.
I watched the movie form of it. It's interesting. It's what I consider it. You know, we all start somewhere. We all start somewhere that isn't necessarily the greatest thing ever, because we all have to start. You know, so I'd say COD season 1 gets better as it goes on. As
you know what?
Go on.
Sorry, I'll let you finish. Hang on.
Why did that picture just send? Weird. As I was saying, as COD Season 2 gets better as it goes on too. Just pretty much everything. You know, you gain more experience, you gain more knowledge, and you start to work and you start to develop. And if you're a reasonable, sensible person, you acknowledge the old problems of your series and you start to rewrite it and you start to rework it and you change things. And that's how it works. That's how it always works.
Mm-hmm.
And you've grown a lot. You've changed. You have 2,000 subscribers, right?
Over, yeah.
That's
not significantly over, but yeah.
That's impressive. So, good job. And it's really cool to see how much you've changed and how much you've grown. And you definitely adopted your own style, which is the best part of a biotuber or a YouTuber in general, when they have their own distinct style that they're recognized for. Just slow down with the streams a bit and you're good.
Too many streams for you?
There's a lot of streams.
I've just been bored lately, man.
I know. That's perfectly reasonable. It just makes it hard to like find videos, you know?
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm. And also, COD season finale did really, really well too. It's 8,000 views or something like that, almost like that. That's
the series finale.
Yeah,
season 2.
Yeah.
I think so. It's
done really well. So again, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you want to say?
I think it's funny. Technically, so I started COD in September and finished it in November or October. And then the first bit of season 2 is the Christmas special.
Uh-huh.
So that's funny. That's crazy to me.
Why is that? Is that just
because it's like the first season went on for 3 months. Yeah. And then 2 months later is the first bit of season 2.
Yep.
And then the rest of season 2 doesn't even start until like way later.
Yeah. Well, hey, there you go. I mean, it was a crazy transformation. And again, and that's another thing too. You really changed what COD was down the line. I say early COD is very similar to old BioTube in a lot of ways, because you have characters who, you know, they're all kind of like these. I don't really know how to describe them. Kind of anime characters almost.
Yeah.
Who just like, we gotta go stop the thing. They're like, let's
Mhm.
stop the evil man who's plotting something. And you're like, go get the relics or whatever. It feels very much like an anime. Right.
Yeah.
It feels like early Biotube. But as it starts to go on, it definitely becomes its own thing. You got a lot of specific characters. There's a lot of like mixing things too. You have a lot of like sci-fi elements included in the series too, like robots or like weird futuristic guns out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's cool. It gives your series a little bit of an identity, which is very nice. And the characters also become a lot more three-dimensional as the show goes on too, and not just anime characters. I guess, is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up? You are the guest after all, so
Yeah.
your judgment.
I don't know. Do you have any other questions?
What's your favorite color?
Now this is gonna seem pretty obscure and controversial, but I actually do like a nice crimson red.
Holy crap! You can't say that.
Why not?
You're gonna get banned.
Why?
It's a controversial color.
Okay, well I like red.
It's
There you
blood red. It's the same color as blood.
Right.
It's evil.
So it's just red.
Right. Well, whatever.
So is brown when blood dries.
No.
No.
Crimson brown. No, but I don't really have any other questions. I mean, if I would just ask something, I guess it would be, what do you plan to do what advice could you give to people to start their own channel and to start doing all this stuff if they want to get into BioTube? It's a big question, but
So, I mean, this is something that I've said to Comrade before, and my advice would be just start.
Yep.
You're not gonna if you just keep putting it off and like thinking about it and waiting and like, oh, I'll get to it when I have the time or I'll get to it when I'm ready. Don't. Just start.
It is kind of, yeah, I agree.
I started Chronicles of Darkness spur of the moment, out of nowhere. Filmed the first episode all in one day. Just start.
Yeah.
Once you start, you have the base, you have the bottom level. You can build up from there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never get that bottom level in, you're not going to go anywhere.
That makes perfect sense. I totally agree. Because if you don't start, you can't start.
Yeah.
That's probably the most simplest thing I've ever said. But
yeah,
I don't really have much else to say. I think that's pretty much it. I'm cutting you off early. It's half and half. That's kind of what it was supposed to be. But I guess just thank you everyone so much for watching, and thank you Kasai for being on the show. I know you wanted to be on, and I definitely want to have you on for another episode down the line.
yeah, thank you.
I think we'll probably do another formal one next time. So probably one where we just like talk next time. If you're down for that, of course.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Okay. That's good. I'm glad to have you on. And
yeah, I was very happy to be on. Thank you.
you finally fulfilled the destiny.
My dream has come true.
Yep. All right,
Correct.
everyone, thank you so much for watching the new Renzo Show. I'm your host, Renzo Mox, and this has been a entertaining time, I hope, for all of you. I apologize for my voice. I am sick. I don't know when this video is coming out. Doesn't really matter when it's being recorded, but it probably won't be out for a while. So it'll be out when it comes out. Anyhow, any last words, Kasai?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. Goodbye, guys.